My name is Dulce Valencia and welcome to Telenovelas con Dulce. In this video, I will be giving y'all a recap of the iconic 2010 telenovela, Teresa. I will be covering key moments of the plot, so spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. Let's get started. The telenovela begins with Teresa, a young high school student portrayed by Angelique Boyer, who has just graduated high school and is attending her graduation party. There, she dances with her boyfriend Paolo and informs him that her parents are taking her away after graduation and that the only way that she'll be able to stay is if Paolo marries her. Paolo agrees to marry her, which makes Teresa ecstatic. She then leaves the party early but forgets her shawl, which Paolo decides to take to her. He follows her in a taxi and sees that Teresa has been lying to him about her background and pretending to be rich. The reality is, she lives in a vecindad with her poor but loving parents. After discovering her lies, Paolo breaks up with her. We soon see that Teresa is an ambitious and intelligent young woman.
Yo quiero ser como el licenciado de la barrera.
She has constantly received better grades than all of her classmates, who all hate her for being smart and also pretty.
Soy Teresa Chávez. Y más vale que se aprendan mi nombre, porque todo lo que yo necesito lo tengo aquí.
Teresa's only friend is the sweet and wealthy Aurora. At home, she lives with her mother Refugio, who loves her but doesn't always understand her.
¿Cuánto odio hablas, Teresa? Me das miedo.
Her father, who's loving and supports everything she does, and her younger sister Rosita, who's a gymnast. She also counts on the constant support by her madrina Juana.
Gracias a ti, porque sin tu ayuda jamás hubiera podido estudiar en esa preparatoria de ese colegio. Gracias. Muchas gracias.
We also meet Teresa's ex-boyfriend Mariano. Mariano and Teresa still love each other but had broken up after Teresa realized that Mariano did not have her ambition. After Paolo breaks up with her, he teams up with Aida, Teresa's bully, and together they publicly humiliate Teresa in front of all of their classmates, exposing her for her poverty and also for her lies.
Pobre y mentirosa. Ella es, señores, Teresa Chávez.
Teresa is humiliated but vows to get revenge on them.
Juro, por todo lo que más he amado en mi vida, que nunca nadie volverá a humillarme.
Soon after graduating, Teresa's teacher, the respectable Profesor Arturo de la Barrera, offers to pay for her college.
Yo pago por ahora los gastos de tu universidad y a cambio cuento contigo los primeros años de tu carrera.
Meanwhile, Mariano and Aurora meet and they begin spending more time together, with Aurora starting to fall in love with him. Because of this, Teresa is stricken with jealousy and she decides to get back together with Mariano.
Verás que no escogiste el hombre equivocado.
Eso yo lo sé, porque no podría amar a nadie más.
Tragedy strikes when Rosita, Teresa's younger sister, dies suddenly from a genetic heart condition that no one knew she had. Teresa is overcome with grief and blames their lack of money for her death. Then, at her sister's deathbed, she vows to never suffer again because of the lack of money.
Juro por lo que más quiero, que eres tú, que algo así no me va a volver a pasar. Nunca más, nunca más, nunca.
Teresa then decides that she's gonna make Arturo fall in love with her and marry her, even though she still loves Mariano. She also meets Luisa, Arturo's sister, who distrusts her at first, but is soon won over by Teresa and becomes one of her best friends.
En verdad me doy cuenta de que Teresa es muy especial para ti.
Time passes and Arturo falls in love with Teresa and decides to marry her after graduation, believing that she is also in love with him. In reality, Teresa has been secretly dating Mariano and loves him fully. However, she realizes that Mariano lacks her ambitions and her goals.
Es inútil contigo. Todo lo que te dije fue en vano. Jamás vas a ser el hombre que yo soñé. Siempre serás un mediocre.
And she decides to break up with him to marry Arturo, although she ends up sleeping with Mariano the night before her wedding. During her wedding with Arturo, Mariano tries to stop it, but is unsuccessful.
¡Teresa! ¡No te puedes casar con él!
Shortly after, a depressed Mariano ends up bonding with Aida, as Aida is also heartbroken over the death of Paolo, which Teresa actually caused. Meanwhile, poor Aurora is in love with Mariano, although Mariano only sees her as a friend.
Arréglate. Cambia tu ropa, tu peinado. Haz algo para que Mariano te voltee a ver.
More time passes and we see Arturo and Teresa working together. Eventually, they take a trip over Europe where Teresa realizes that she now loves him too, although she still has feelings for Mariano. While they were traveling through Europe, Arturo neglected a very important case and as a result loses. Losing this case means also losing his fortune, but despite this, Teresa decides to stay with him because she still loves him and believes that together they can get back their money. At this point, Teresa is completely in love with Arturo and even saves his life when she takes a bullet for him. However, Arturo discovers that Teresa cheated on him with Mariano and moves her back to the vecindad in an effort to test her loyalty and her love.
No voy a aguantar, no voy a aguantar.
Teresa plays along and soon after they move out of the vecindad, and this is where Teresa launches her master plan. Her master plan includes seducing Arturo's best friend and millionaire, Fernando, stealing all of his money and then running off together with Arturo.
Yo no puedo estar contigo así. Antes lo que tengo que hacer es divorciarme.
Arturo disapproves completely of this plan, and shortly after, he and Teresa get a divorce, even though they still love each other.
Así que por favor no perdamos el tiempo. A mi aún esposa le urge divorciarse para correr al lado de otro que le va a dar el dinero que tanto quiere.
Soon after the divorce, Teresa succeeds in her plan and is able to take all of Fernando's money.
Ser o no ser. Y yo soy.
She grabs his money and runs off to Arturo so that they can be together, but Arturo is disgusted by her actions and leaves her.
Fuera de aquí, no quiero verte más.
By this point, Mariano and Aurora are in love and are together. Teresa is rejected by everyone in her family, including her mother, her madrina, everyone at the vecindad, and also her father dies from a heart attack, disappointed by her actions.
Tu ambición no tuvo límite. ¿No ves el daño que hiciste?
Teresa is then left with all of the money in the world, but no one around to love her. Teresa then decides to donate all of her money, and in the end, we see her walking alone inside her huge and empty mansion. As she does, she contemplates two teddy bears, one given to her by Arturo and one given to her by Mariano. As she does this, she rejects the one given to her by Mariano, showing that she has completely forgotten him and now only loves Arturo. She goes to her room where she cries but vows that she will come back on top.
Pero yo volveré a empezar. Mañana volveré a empezar.
As she does, Arturo walks in, looks at her, they're both crying, and then Arturo decides to pick her up and kiss her, having forgiven her for her actions and choosing to love her. And that is how the telenovela ends, with Teresa finally getting to be with the love of her life, Arturo. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I hope you enjoyed. Teresa is one of my favorite telenovelas, and I love Angelique Boyer's portrayal of her. And let me know in the comments what you thought about this telenovela. As always, I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone!